10 Greatest NBA Careers Ruined by Injuries. The NBA is the place where amazing things happen, but it's also the place where tragedy strikes. There are few things worse than seeing a player with a lot of promise or accolades already to his name forced to retire due to injuries. Injuries are an inescapable inevitability. They're always lurking, just waiting to alter a playoff race, a season, or a career. Nobody's immune, but some players have had worse injury luck than others. In this video, we take a look at the 10 greatest NBA careers ruined by injuries. But before we begin, kindly subscribe to our channel for more of our amazing content. Please give us a like, share the video, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell for timely updates of our weekly uploads. Let's get it on! Number 1. Grant Hill. Grant Hill was a force to be reckoned with the moment he entered the league. A highly touted collegiate player from Duke University, Grant would immediately serve the league notice as he posted impressive statics. His numbers were comparable to Scottie Pippen's. Grant would go on to win Co-Rookie of the Year honors with Dallas' Jason Kidd. He was the son of NFL player Calvin Hill. Calvin was remembered as a Super Bowl VI champion with the Dallas Cowboys. Grant had a career-altering ankle injury in Orlando, and this would rob him of a lot of his explosiveness and athleticism. While no longer the superstar he once was, Grant had 2 good seasons in Orlando, which were the 2004-2005 season where he averaged 19.7 points per game, and the 2006-2007 season where he averaged 14.4 points per game. After his stint in Orlando, Grant would spend 5 relatively healthy seasons in Phoenix, where he was a vital piece of the run-and-gun Suns. The Phoenix Suns medical staff is known to work wonders for injury-prone players, and Grant greatly benefited from this. His final season was spent with the Los Angeles Clippers, where a bruised bone in his right knee sidelined him for a significant period of time. He played sparingly and did not have much of an impact on the squad statistics-wise. Number 2. Derrick Rose. The only guy featured here who's still playing, Derrick Rose might strike some as an odd fit, but Rose, who suffered a torn ACL less than a year after winning an MVP at the age of 22, clearly would have had a diverse career if not for an abrupt physical decline. With averages of 25.0 points, 7.7 assists, and 4.1 rebounds in his age 22 season, Rose joined the rare company. Among players 22 or younger, only Rose and Oscar Robertson posted per-game figures like those. Robertson did so in 1960-1961, a sped-up era of gaudy stats and minimal defense. Achieved 50 years later in an era of relatively suppressed individual production, Rose's achievements may be even more impressive. Rose's breakdown didn't end with the torn ACL though. After missing the entire 2012-2013 season, he subsequently underwent multiple surgeries to address a torn meniscus in his right knee, suffered through persistent ankle issues, fractured his left orbital bone, and lost the top-flight athleticism that defined his early career. He played a reckless style, crashing into the lane and putting extreme strain on his body with a start-and-stop burst that can only be described as violent. Perhaps injuries were inevitable for a player like him. Still, there's no telling what might have been possible for the youngest player ever to win the NBA's MVP award. Rose hasn't played more than 66 games in any season since he tore his ACL. Instead of performing like a star, he's strictly a backup playing on minimum deals these days. Number 3. Alexander Radjaja. Standing at an astounding 7 feet 3 inches, Alexander Radjaja entered the league in 1999. The Toronto Raptors selected him in the first round of that year's draft in hopes that he would be the low-post defensive stalwart they were craving. After appearing in only 3 games in his first year, he suffered a season-ending injury. He attempted a comeback the following season, but to no avail. He wound up being traded to the Milwaukee Bucks prior to the 2001-2002 campaign before he was waived. Injuries prevented him from having a career in the NBA, and he was forced to head overseas for work. Number 4. Yao Ming. Yao Ming's career was marked by both illustrious accomplishment and unfortunate injuries. After 8 seasons in the NBA, Yao called it quits recently, courtesy of injuries that were plaguing the lower half of his body, including a surgically repaired left ankle. Yao is undoubtedly the best player to ever come out of China, but his career should have consisted of a lot more accolades and certainly a lengthier tenure. His inability to escape harm's way is nothing short of tragic. Number 5. Allen Houston. Allen Houston was the heir apparent to the great John Starks for the New York Knicks and was an instrumental member of the team that went to the 1999 NBA Finals. The Knicks eventually signed Houston to a maximum contract extension worth over $20 million per year. They got virtually no return on a said investment after he subsequently went through a myriad of injury problems. Between 2003 and his premature retirement in 2005, he missed over 100 games due to injury. Number 6. Brandon Roy. Brandon Roy was an All-American and the Pac-10 Player of the Year in 2006 as a member of the University of Washington Huskies, which led him to being taken 6th overall in the NBA draft that year. As a member of the Portland Trail Blazers, he was a 3-time All-Star, highlighted by being named All-NBA Second Team in 2009 and All-NBA Second Team in 2010. Yet less than 2 years after the latter All-NBA selection, Roy announced his retirement from the NBA due to a degenerative knee condition. Number 7. Amare Stoudemire. Amare Stoudemire rewarded the Phoenix Suns, who selected him with the 9th overall pick in the 2002 NBA Draft, by being named to the All-Star Game 4 times and being named to the All-NBA team 4 times. First team in 2007, second team in 2005, 2008, and 2010. Stoudemire parlayed those exploits into a maximum contract deal with the New York Knicks following the 2010 season, rejoining head coach Mike D'Antoni. But many people believe that D'Antoni overused Stoudemire during his first 2 seasons in New York, and Stoudemire began to be plagued with knee injuries. He missed 88 games over his ensuing 2 seasons in New York. Those knee injuries zapped him of his signature athleticism. Number 8. Greg Oden. The Portland Trail Blazers do not seem to have luck when it comes to injuries. Their prized pick in the Michael Jordan draft, Sam Bowie, was a standout in Kentucky, but was marred by leg injuries. Their shooting guard of the future, Brandon Roy, was maligned with knee injuries. More recently, it was their center in the Kevin Durant draft that was being hit with knee problems. The Blazers simply could not catch a break. Greg Oden was supposed to be the next great defensive center. In college, Oden played for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Along with teammate Mike Conley Jr., they dominated the collegiate ranks en route a championship game matchup against the Florida Gators. Though they lost the game, Oden was an absolute beast with 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 blocks. The Portland Trail Blazers were impressed with Oden's dominance and picked him over Texas Longhorn star Kevin Durant. This would turn out to be a costly error in hindsight, and has been compared to the time the Blazers picked Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. From the get-go, the prospects appeared bleak for Greg Oden's career. Before the season even began, Oden had microfracture surgery. This sidelined him for what should have been his rookie season. In his second year, Oden was at the healthiest he had been in his entire career and played 61 games. Even then, he still had his fair share of injuries. He had a foot injury in his NBA debut. He then had a knee injury in February. In his third season, Greg showed some promising signs of improvement. He scored a career high for points with 24 and a career high for rebounds with 20. However, he only played 21 games due to more knee injuries. Oden sat out the next season and concentrated on rehab. He hoped to come back the following season and try to revive his NBA career. Greg tried to attempt a comeback with the Miami Heat, powered by the big three of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. Miami made it to the finals. They were promptly decimated by the San Antonio Spurs. It was not that Greg was a bad player. Greg was simply too fragile for the rigors of NBA basketball. Because of his severe injury history and mature looks, many people suspected Oden of being much older than he actually was. Some even joked that he was LeBron James' dad. Number 9. Jonathan Bender. Fans don't often look to 7-foot-tall players for skill. Smaller players tend to have better skills, whereas taller players handle the more physical and practical side of the game. Jonathan Bender was an exception to that rule. He was tall, but he was also extremely light on his feet and surprisingly agile, as many of his opponents discovered to their cost. He was unstoppable during his NBA debut season, generating headlines and terrorizing everyone who played against him on his way to double-digit averages. Almost as soon as he arrived, though, his career was over. His style of play appeared to ask too much of his knees, and his knees couldn't keep up. After just 8 seasons in the sport, many of which were curtailed by injury problems, he was forced to hang it up at the age of only 25. Number 10. Penny Hardaway. Fans of a certain age will have very fond memories of watching Hardaway play alongside Shaq O'Neal with Orlando Magic during the 1990s. They were almost unstoppable when they were both on form, and nobody relished coming up against them. Hardaway was the 3rd overall draft pick in his 1993 rookie season, but played with the maturity and skill of a player 5 years older. Who knows how good he might have become when he entered his prime years if things had been different. 4 years into his career, a career in which he made the All-Star team every year, he was struck down by a dreadful knee injury that led to numerous surgeries. Unlike Bender, Hardaway eventually came back from surgery and returned to the sport, but he was never quite the same player. Did you enjoy our video? Who do you think would have achieved a legendary status were it not for their injuries? Well, if you enjoyed our video, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more of our amazing content. Please give us a like, share the video, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell for timely updates of our new uploads. We value your feedback. Feel free to share your thoughts with us in the comment section below.